Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Privett Park Podcast. And I'd like to welcome our special guest, Rory Williams. Rory, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good, thanks.
So, I guess the first thing always to talk about is getting almost close to the start of football again. You must be excited to get back playing.
Yeah, I sort of missed it, been watching it. I had a little bit of an injury, and I think a few other players did as well. So it's probably afforded us a little bit of time just to get, a few players back. We were a little bit thin on the ground by the end, but I think a month's probably enough, and I think we're looking forward to get going again.
It must have felt odd as well, sitting in November on a weekend not playing football as well.
Yeah, it's been a bit cold and a bit wet, so I've not missed it too much. I'm not too sure where we should have been, but I've been doing other bits and pieces on my own just to try and keep fit. So.
And what are those sort of things? Is it difficult, to keep up to those levels when you're not actually playing with football?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, the weather permitting and time permitting, obviously I'm quite busy, so I tend to get out on the bike when I can. I don't tend to do too much running anymore because I'm getting a bit old and my knees and my ankles are sore. But I tend to get on the bike at least once a week, and that works for me quite well.
And what is it like as well when you're doing all this stuff? You're not around, all the other players. You normally do everything all together. Even stuff on a match day. It's completely different this season.
Yeah, I mean, we still sort of speak to each other. Any group chats and whatever else is bouncing around, talking about the football that's going on. But obviously, you do sort of get encompassed in. You end up spending sort of more time with the lads at football than you do with your family some of the times, especially when you go straight from work and you get home late. You might not see them for a couple of days, and then before we know it, we're back at training if we've got a Tuesday game and things like that. So I wouldn't say we've missed each other. That's probably a bit strong, but it'd be good to see the boys again and see what everyone's been up to.
And of course, when we come back, it's certainly going to be a busy schedule now, with I guess even more games behind. How do you think that's going to affect the squad in terms of just in general playing, basically for the rest of the season, a weekday match and then a weekend match?
I think it affects all teams, to be honest. Obviously, some teams have got bigger squads than others. At the moment, ours isn't particularly big in terms of available players. So I'm not too sure on some of the people that were injured before, whether they're available now. But I think it will probably be just as stressful for the managers having to sort of rotate players and be a bit sensible with who they've got available. They might have someone available on the Saturday who's not available Tuesday, and vice versa. But I think all teams will be in the same boat. So it'll be interesting to see how all the games and the trainings sort of all matched in, and because effectively we've missed a month of the season. So if that was 6 games, we've now got. I know they've extended the season a little bit, but 6 extra games to get in doesn't sound a lot. But logistically, when we're pretty much playing Saturday, Tuesday anyway, fortunately or unfortunately, we're out of the cups now, so that affords us a few free weekends, which will probably get used. But ultimately, all the games have got to be played. But so all teams are in the same boat. So.
Do you think that though might, being out of the cups give us a slight advantage, maybe compared to teams that are still in it, where they maybe even potentially have to play?
I think probably both sides. One, you've got obviously the momentum that if you're winning cup games and the sort of the buzz and the feeling that can give you, which we've done previous and I've been involved in before, it sort of can then be carried on into the league. But this year, obviously, when the games are coming thick and fast, it's not going to afford you any breaks, any ability to rest people. So, we'll have some times where we don't have a game because the team we're meant to be playing are in the FA Cup or the FA Trophy. And we'll have a free week. So that will give people time to recover and things like that, where other teams might not have that luxury.
And, we've done a month of the season so far. How have you felt it's gone for you personally? Well, maybe some of the highs for you and some of the lows?
I think it's been okay. I mean, I don't tend to look at it on a personal level anymore. Sort of past that a little bit. I'd rather just see the lads, the team winning and some of the lads doing well. I want to win, obviously, absolutely. I hold my hands up on one of the worst losers going, but In terms of, I look at it more sort of bigger picture. The younger players, we've got a very young squad at the moment, and I sort of enjoy probably more seeing them win, score goals, and getting the name in the paper than me getting any sort of recognition. I've enjoyed it this year. Some bits I haven't enjoyed. I didn't particularly enjoy the Dorchester game. I thought we let ourselves down. We weren't very good, and it just happens to be that was the last game we played, which is annoying because we've not had the opportunity to train or play to sort of rectify what went wrong, and a little bit of a sort of sour taste in the mouth. But hopefully that will mean when we do come back, we're sort of a bit more willing to get back on track, because the games are going to come thick and fast. We're going to have plenty of opportunities to sort that out.
It's interesting you said about you don't look at your own, you look at more the team performance rather than your own performance now. Why is there that mentality change from you now?
I think I'm a bit older. I think I'm the oldest player. My days of potentially doing anything else are done. I'm more than happy where I am. I'm happy at that level. Have I realistically got many more years left? Probably not. 1 or 2, 3 if I'm lucky. And whether that's for my body or whether I just don't want to do it anymore, that's a decision that sort of I make every year, whether it's something I actually want to do. And I think I've known some of the players, the younger players who are saying now like 20, 23, 24, not necessarily at Gosport as well. Brad Tarbuck's an example. Other players who I've known quite a while, and I've seen them over the last maybe 3 or 4 years. And if I was to stop playing, I'd probably still go and watch them. Alfie Rutherford's another one. I've got friends who play for various teams. I'd probably go and watch them as opposed to doing anything else. But I get just as much enjoyment seeing, them score goals and do well. I'm happy just doing what I do. And if I can be any assistance to them along the way, then great.
And you mentioned that, you're one of the older players in the squad. In your first stint in the club, you probably was the younger ones. So how's your sort of role within the teams changed?
I think my first game for Gosport when I was 16. I'm 32 now, so 16 years ago. Well, it's the opposite, effectively. When I first started, I didn't really play. I didn't really have much input vocally or on the pitch, whereas now I think it's probably the opposite. I've obviously seen quite a few things in terms of not just at Gosport, other clubs. I've seen how things should be done, how they shouldn't be done, and I think I like things. I think things need to be done right at any level, and I think it's just that sounds a bit cliche, but the experience, being at obviously clubs like haven't Gosport for some time, you just sort of pick up on things. You deal with other players, so obviously how people conducted themselves when I was coming up from 20 to 27, how people who were my age now conducted themselves, what they did, their role, and it's sort of you sort of just involve into it even if you don't want to. People come and ask you questions. I'm not a shy person. I keep myself to myself. I'm not shy in terms of if I think something's wrong or something needs to be said, I'll say it. But I think also do it in a way which I don't think it's never personal with me. If I say something, it's never personal. I'm doing it for the benefit of the team, and I want to win. Otherwise, I wouldn't be there.
And one of the big positive stories this season has been the 3 Pompey loanees. Is there stuff you see in them at this stage that you saw, at the same age?
Yeah, I mean they're good lads, really good lads. I mean, obviously, I think they might or might have not gone back. I don't know. You probably know more than me, because I know a couple of them played for Portsmouth over the break. So whether they come back, hopefully they do, because say they're good lads. You probably haven't had as much interactions with them as we have, but yeah, they're good. I think they've got a couple of good futures. Hopefully they do all right. Again, they're people that in 10 years, if they get a good move and they're playing in whatever league they're playing in, I'll be more than happy to sort of, say, yeah, I played with them, they did well, they were good lads, and if we stay in contact, great. I think it's a good relationship to have, obviously, certainly at club at Gosport's level. And most teams at that level, they always draw on loanees, and whether they can get people from higher leagues, often youth players or younger players, for experience, but it also helps us. So we haven't got a massive squad, and if 3 of them can come in and help us and help themselves at the same time, then hopefully it benefits everyone.
And then also looking ahead in the future, would you ever consider going into coaching roles?
I don't really know, to be honest. I think I'd rather play golf. Yeah, I'm not. Maybe. I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I don't know if I'm sort of. Don't know. No, not sure. Not really thought about it, but I don't know if it is for me or not.
Okay. Because the first game back on the 12th is against Truro. It's not the easiest game, but we beat them last season, so there's nothing saying we can't beat them again.
No, I mean they're going to. I assume they've not done anything the same as we've not done anything. So it'd be a case of a couple of training sessions, see who's the fittest, see who, they've got a long trip. It's not ideal for them, certainly coming to us fresh off the back of, like a 4-hour drive after a month off. And I think we play good football. We don't necessarily always get the results, and I think that's probably been the story this season. But no one wants to come and play us, and there's nothing to be afraid of. I think we've earned the respect over however many years. The Gosport name does carry a sort of a little bit of weight, certainly at this league, and teams, they want to come and play us because they know it's going to be a good game. We've got nothing to fear, but they certainly won't fear us either. So.
You said that some of the results haven't gone our way. Why do you think maybe close results, I think people particularly go back to stuff like the Poole game, have just not gone our way?
I think there's been a few factors. I mean, again, Poole, I think you said Poole, we were the best team, in my opinion, the whole game. Anyone that's there, if you don't agree, fine, but that's my opinion. We've had quite a few injuries to senior players. Theo Lewis, Mike Carter, Matt Patterson, there's sort of 3 that come to mind straight away. We effectively played 70 minutes of the Poole game without a recognised striker. We played Brad Tarbuck as a centre forward, who's arguably one of our best players when he's in his natural position, which is the right side. So we took one of our strengths away for him to play up front. Obviously, people came in and filled the role, but we had the majority of the ball, majority of the chances. We just didn't score, lost 1-0. I also think, obviously, I've said it before, I think we're quite a young team, and that's not a bad thing because it comes with other positives like the enthusiasm, fitness. But some of the sort of game craft, when you go to places like Poole away on a Tuesday night, they've maybe not been there. That's, again, not negative, it's just a learning curve. And the next time we're in that position, you'd like to think we've learnt from it and we'll maybe react differently. If we don't, then that's a problem, and then that's a conversation the manager needs to have. But I think we'll do okay. If we were playing badly and losing, obviously you want to win. But Poole, we gave a good account of ourselves. If you were there, I think we were the better team, but we didn't win. Simple as that.
Maybe also another unique challenge of this season also is the long distance travelling, all in the second half of the season. Normally you'd have it spread across the whole season. Is that an extra challenge? Like you've got to do those trips to Devon and Cornwall all at the back of the season when it's a lot colder, it gets a lot darker earlier. Is that an added challenge, or do you think you get over it?
I mean, you've got to go whether you go in on a summer's day or whether you go when it's raining. You've still got to go. Mm-hmm. It's a bit more draining time-wise to travel in the dark. You leave in the dark, you play in the dark, you get home in the dark. And yeah, you'd rather play them on a Saturday. But it's needs must. Everyone knows what they're signing up for when they sign for a club, not just Gosport in this league. And you've got to go to these places, home and away. Can't do anything about it. It is what it is. We didn't really want to go to Tavistock, but we had to go there. Just got to get on with it. I don't really think it's an excuse. Bearing in mind, quite a few of the players have played higher, whether that be Conference South, Conference National, League football, and you're travelling far further distances than we are. Travelling nationwide. So I don't think that really can be too much of a problem. And we're not all localised to Gosport. There's players that come from various different areas. So sometimes, if we're going to London, there's players that live closer to London. So it's easier travelling for them. As a club, Gosport is further to travel, but not necessarily on an individual basis when you look at where all the players live, unless your name's Ryan Woodford, because you've got to come over from the Isle of Wight every time.
And also, it's quite an odd situation as well. You're not essentially having to play over the Christmas break. You've only got 2 games and then a big gap until I think it's Hartley Whitney on the 2nd of January. So again, is that another odd thing? You'd normally be playing a lot of games at this point in the season when you're playing hardly any games.
Yeah, I think I'm certainly not complaining about having Boxing Day off. We've not had, basically, some of the players probably haven't had a Christmas for 15 years. Because you don't go mad on Christmas Day knowing you've got a game the next day. So I think it's on the back of the Blackfield pulling out. So even though there's more games now, I don't think anything will probably be scheduled in because there's no opponent. Blackfield aren't in the league anymore. So it'd probably be nice, if anything, a little bit of time. We'll probably train in between. Again, I don't know what the schedule is. You'll be asking the wrong person there, but I'm sure we're training between. And again, it's probably, if anything, a bit of, good. We're coming back after a month off. It's going to be a long 3 or 4 weeks leading up to Christmas with games and training. And like you say, it's wet and cold. So it'd probably be nice to have a few days off, relax, get some injuries sorted, and then get going again in the new year.
And another big positive, I guess, this season was also being the slow graduation, I guess, of some of the youth players into, playing in the first team, training with the first team. You're a local Gosport lad. How important is it to get those young players through?
Yeah, I think it's important to a certain degree. I think that becomes less imperative the higher you go, because Gosport is quite a small area. It's quite a small catchment area. We've had some players that have come through this season and trained with us, and they've been really good. Gosport's always had quite a sort of close-knit community feel, lots of teams, whether that's under 9s through to the vets team, and everything in between. So I think there's always that sort of feeling of you've always got a chance to play for Gosport. It's not like playing for Man United, let's be honest, but it's the chance of we're playing at a decent level. Southern League Prem is a decent level, and if there's some young players that can come through and join the squad and help out, absolutely, yeah. And obviously you've got the link with Pat Sirachi and Joe Lee running the sort of centre of excellence, who, again, both sort of fairly local. And yeah, it can only benefit the club, hopefully, in the long run. There's not always going to be the ability to pull players in from wherever they're coming from. A lot of it's financially based. And if you can produce your own players, absolutely, great, why not?
And of course, under new management this season, I know you've worked with Sean in the past. What's it also been like working with Scott?
Yeah, so obviously I've known Sean for 4 years, I think, and he was around tail end of last year when the previous manager was there. So Sean's obviously taken over the reins. Not a great deal sort of variation from what I knew he was going to be like, which is great. Scott, I didn't know anything about him, didn't know who he was. Obviously did a little bit of sort of research just to find out my facts, and he's obviously had quite a good career. You don't play that many games professionally if you don't know what you're talking about, or haven't got a clue, which he clearly has. He does all the sort of the training side of it, so puts the sessions on. I think he's done all sort of coaching. I think it's out in Finland or somewhere. So yeah, he does all the training side of it. And yeah, I like him. Probably a bit more sort of old school than what some of the lads have maybe been used to. Not in a bad way, just in terms of we are playing non-league football, and there's a sort of physical element to that. And yeah, I've had no problems. I like what we've done this year. It's just we've not been able to follow it through properly for one reason or another on the pitch.
And is it a bit odd? You're so used to having Sean as a coach, now to see him in that management role where he takes a step back in training sessions. Like last season, he was the one who took control of those training sessions.
No, I mean it was the relationship. Obviously, I was with him at Havant. He was fairly sort of involved there, and Lee Bradbury did a lot of the sessions alongside Sean. Not a great deal's changed in terms of that. Obviously, he's the manager of the club. He's the boss. Whereas before, the final instruction was coming from someone else. It's now coming from him. But all the time I've known him, he's been fairly vocal. He's not been an assistant manager, say, that stands in the background and just picks up the balls and the bibs and the cones. He's always been fairly vocal and fairly sort of active with the players. And I think it's just doing the same now, just in a management role.
And then, so my final question is going to be, what are your hopes for now, the rest of the season? Not games still, of course, left. Nothing's decided. So what are your hopes that the team can do now?
Well, firstly, just finish the season. I think that's out of our control and the team's control. If we can just get the season finished best we can, safely. And I say we're not playing bad. It's just but it's a results business, really. Again, sounds a bit cliche, but you'd rather play bad and win. Sorry. So I think we're not a million miles off. We played Paul, who were top of the league, and I think we were the better team. I think they'll agree with the better team. So we've got nothing to fear from any team in this league. If we can just get obviously a few players back fit, design out a few of the wrinkles, I think we'll be there or thereabouts. I certainly think sort of playoffs, from my opinion, is sort of minimum. Certainly for a club like Gosport, with the players we've got, that needs to be sort of minimum requirement. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
Lovely. I would like to thank Rory for joining me and asking a few of my questions, and I'd like to thank everyone for listening. You've listened to another episode, and goodbye.